Everybody, Sly here, and today I'm going to be doing another reaction video, and it's the old top 5 once again, and it's titled The 5 Noble Creepypastas. Not pasta, but pasta, creepypastas. So let's take a look and see what they have for the creepypastas. Here we go.
Hello and welcome to All Top 5s. Although I've looked at urban legends, I also wanted to cover creepypastas. Despite the bizarre name, creepypastas are often excellent legends or pictures that are usually fairly short and created by their authors in order to scare the viewer. They're produced with a realistic vibe, aiming to seem authentic, and in some cases they succeed in convincing people. Here are the top 5 most notable and viral creepypastas of all time.
Let's take a look. Number 5.
Number 5. Ted the Caver.
Ted the
Here's one
Caver.
that began a while back. In early 2001, someone made a website using AngelFire, the free website space hoster, which was a story documenting the caving trips of the man, Ted, and some of his friends. It takes the form of a series of blog posts or journal entries, and includes a few photographs of certain areas of interest in the cave, which he refers to as Mystery Cave. As the explorations continue into Mystery Cave, Ted and his fellow adventurers navigate some tight squeezes and make some good progress, but then things begin getting weird.
He got stuck.
Through a hole that they widened in order to get past, they begin hearing horrid screams, feeling an unexplained wind gusting at times, and even discover an unusual symbol etched into one of the rocks.
Really?
After several excursions, the group takes time away from Mystery Cave, but after experiencing horrific nightmares and even hallucinations, they decide to revisit one last time for a sense of closure. Ted details that they plan to go back with a gun and a knife for protection, and that he'll update the blog on their return. That was the final entry, and it hasn't been updated since then.
Wow.
Although chilling, it was confirmed by the author years later to be fictitious, though loosely based on some real cave experiences that they had had. Still, this was a superb example of some early creepypasta that really set the bar high and pushed the boundaries in episodic storytelling. Well worth a read.
Nah,
Number 4.
I wouldn't be in there.
Candle Cove.
This
is a classic creepypasta with a great twist. Also with an unorthodox storytelling method, Candle Cove is a story that takes the form of a forum thread and was written in 2009 by a webcomic artist. These forum posts are by a group of people all sharing their fragmented yet nostalgic memories of a TV show that they had caught sometime in the early 1970s in the USA called Candle Cove. Each new post adds a little more information, as different people remember things that others didn't, or shed more light on when the show was on and on which local channel, but that no one can find any reference to it since.
Wow.
They discuss the pirate marionettes and other really low-budget dolls in the show, such as Pirate Percy, built from parts of other dolls. They begin to recall more sinister parts to the show as they explore their memories, including a villain called the Skin Taker, a skeleton that used to make his clothes out of children's skin, and they all say how they remember being really scared of him. One poster even goes on to describe a recurring nightmare that she had as a child after watching the show, where the puppets just screamed and cried at the camera. Another user corrects her, stating that it can't have been a dream because he remembers it too, but he's convinced that it was an actual Candle Cove episode. After this beautifully creepy setup, the twist comes in at the end, which I won't actually spoil for you here, but I recommend that you go and read it yourself. It's very short and it's definitely one of the more disturbing creepypastas around. Excellent stuff.
I wouldn't, no, not for me.
Number 3. Pen Pal.
Pen Pal?
On Reddit, there's a thread, or subreddit, known as No Sleep. This is where a lot of the best creepypasta stories are written. One of the most prolific users, 1000 Vultures, wrote a series of 6 related stories that formed an entire story. It became one of the most popular creepypasta stories on No Sleep, and a huge fan base grew around it. I highly recommend that you read the originals, but here's an overview. The account was written as a memoir of sorts, of course claiming to be entirely true, and it's about a terrifying experience the author had when he was 6 years old. The author describes how he took part in his school's pen pal scheme, where a letter was written by each child requesting a pen pal and including their return address. The letters were attached to balloons and released high into the air. The lucky children would be the ones to get letters back from a potential new friend. In the case of the protagonist, though, he wasn't so lucky.
Uh-oh.
His letter attracted the attention of an unidentified stalker who began to make life extremely scary for the young child at the time. With creepy phone calls, scrawled writing, and figures in the woods, Pen Pal really does have the makings of a classic horror story.
Wow.
And of course it seems authentic as well. The author has since gone on to adapt these short creepypastas into a full-length novel, so it's worth checking out if you like a good long creepy read.
Nope.
Number 2. Slender Man.
Slender
Now, if
Man.
you've not heard of this one, I'm genuinely surprised. Back in June 2009,
Definitely remember
the
Slender Man.
Man was created in a thread on the Something Awful forum. The thread featured a competition where forum users had to take regular, standard, ordinary photographs and Photoshop them to include some sort of paranormal theme.
Huh.
There were loads of entries, but a user called Eric Knudsen took 2 black and white photographs of
Oh
children
my god, I
playing,
can see
and
that.
added the Slender Man, a very tall,
that can't be
very
real,
thin
though.
man with no face, wearing a suit. He included quotes with the photos, such as, "We didn't want to go, we didn't want to kill them, but its persistent silence and outstretched arms horrified and comforted us at the same time." Needless to say, the attached quotes meant that people began sharing them as truth. It quickly went viral, and hundreds of Slenderman images, stories, and myths sprang up. A YouTube series called Marble Hornets was created by Alex Crayley, who shot in a found footage style his experiences of being stalked by
I've seen one of them before. It was so surreal.
Then, of course, the indie horror game Slender the 8 Pages popped up in 2012 and was downloaded over 2 million times
I remember
in
that
its first month.
100%.
Countless variants were also developed, and it seemed
That
that
was
the legend
scary.
of the Slender Man was taking the world by storm. The Slender
And
Man
that's number
varied in
2 though.
appearance,
What's number
motive,
1?
and background, instilling even
Jeff
more
the Killer?
variety into the stories told and the entertainment produced. Indeed, experts often cite this creepypasta urban legend as a kind of folklore for the digital age. It's a really interesting way of looking at it. Although normally folklore changes in the retelling as it's passed down over generations, examples such as the myth of the Slender Man are retold overnight through the medium of the internet, and it's a valuable study of how folklore evolves. Unfortunately, there were some
Victim
real-life
recovery
controversies
in
surrounding the
Slenderman
Slender Man.
attack.
Despite the
Girl,
legend being
brave
totally
words.
fictional,
I want to live.
some younger children had the line between
Wow.
fiction and reality blurred. There were many attacks, suicide and arson attempts by children that were inspired, at least in part, by Slenderman.
Wow.
One serious case was in May 2014 when 2 12-year-old girls in Wisconsin, USA, stabbed a fellow school pupil 19 times out in the woods. The victim actually survived, but the 2 girls have been tried as adults and may each face a maximum of 65 years in prison.
Wow.
Bizarrely, they attributed their attack to the Slender Man. He was always watching them, apparently, and reading their minds, and they were attempting murder to become proxies for him. This is truly sad, but it shows the phenomenal storytelling power of the legend of the Slender Man, and how, for a time, he ruled a large part of the online world.
Jeez.
Number 1. Squidward's Suicide.
Squidward's
I've saved this
suicide.
one for last, and I know that it will split a lot of people
This is from
opinion-wise.
SpongeBob?
While it's definitely flawed as a piece of creative writing, the idea is what nails the disturbing, chilling, creepy factor that we all want from a creepypasta, and it
What's with
convinced
this
a lot of people at
SpongeBob's
the time that
font?
it was real. On the 7chan image posting board in April 2010, an anonymous user posted their creepypasta story called Squidward's Suicide, again as truth. The narrator begins by talking about their internship at Nickelodeon Studios, where he was part of the production team working on SpongeBob SquarePants, the famous children's cartoon. The narrator and his colleague begin reviewing what's supposed to be the Series 4 premiere of the show.
Oh my god.
And after normal opening credits and the first scene or two, the cartoon takes a seriously dark turn. The scene changes to the character Squidward, an octopus, sitting on the side of his bed looking depressed. The sound then completely cuts out and Squidward begins to cry. Slowly, the sound begins to pick up, featuring ghostly wind noises, louder sobbing, and an almost inaudible demonic laughing underneath as the screen slowly zooms in on Squidward's crying face. The narrator then goes on to describe how there are subliminal frames
Oh my
hidden
god,
amongst
that's
this
a
disturbing
bad
animation
image.
that they had to rewind in order to look at properly. These featured graphic photographs of dead, disemboweled children, each with one of their eyes popped out and crushed. As the episode goes on, Squidward's eyes begin bleeding and pulsating as he stares at the viewer, screaming. A deep voice booms, "Do it!" and Squidward puts a shotgun in his mouth and pulls the trigger, spraying realistic blood and gore all over the wall behind him, with the episode ending on Squidward's dead, mutilated face, his eye dangling out, much like the pictures of the children. They review this macabre episode twice, with their furious boss who demands that an investigation be carried out. Apparently, the narrator claims, it led nowhere as no one had any explanation as to where the footage came from or how it got into the studios. The mystery that surrounds this, no answers, along with the extreme horror of the imagery really makes you shiver. I think the idea of a well-loved children's TV program that has a hidden dark secret like this, much the same way as Candle Cove, is an excellent way of instilling fear, making the comfortable and familiar suddenly seem terrifying. An accompanying video went with this story, some claiming that it's part of the soundtrack from the episode and a still image from one of the original frames. Of course, it is just a story, but it gained a large following and the story convinced many newcomers who believed its disturbing plotline.
Wow.
And that's it from All Top 5s for this week.
Wow.
Obviously, you may well have heard of these before, but I wanted to cover some of the biggest and most
Japanese
effective creepypastas ever written,
workload
rather than my usual approach
creatures.
of covering the less well-known and hidden gems. I will do an episode soon on some really creepy ones that haven't gone viral, that you may not have heard about, but they are just as terrifying, if
Well,
not
we'll
more
find
so.
out sooner or later.
Feel free to discuss these in the comments and let me know what you
Wow,
thought
that
of these
is
5.
something.
Let's keep the discussions polite and interesting, shall we?
Mm-hmm.
If you've enjoyed this video, please give it the thumbs up because it helps other people find them on YouTube and it really helps me out as well. You can also subscribe for a new video every single Tuesday. Peace and love to each and every one of you, and I will see you all next time on All Top 5s.
Wow. Those are very, very interesting creepypastas. And I knew in my mind that Slenderman is going to be in this one. But the other ones, the number 5 one, the cave, secret cave. Oh, I will never go to caves like that. That is like tight spaces and claustrophobic and that. And then, of course, COVID Cave. I think it was called COVID Cave. COVID Cove or something like that. That's interesting. And then the number 1, which is Squidward Suicide from SpongeBob. Weird. But I think the Slenderman is the number 1 thing to me because everybody know what Slenderman is and what the story is and that. Man, it's just creepy. Just creepy. But anyways, if you guys and girls enjoyed this video, give it a like. If you want more video like this, hit the subscribe button for more videos, and don't forget to hit the notification bell for more videos to come. So, that's all the time I have with this video. My name is Sly, thank you for watching, and I hope you enjoyed me reacting to the All Top 5's 5 Noble Creepypastas. And until next time, sleep tight.